Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English. Welcome to World 360 with me, Sandeep. Chaos unfolded at Denver International Airport when an American Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 bound for Miami suffered a technical malfunction shortly after takeoff, forcing an emergency halt on the runway. Smoke billowed from the aircraft's belly, sparking panic among the passengers and airport personnel. All 179 people on board were safely evacuated, though several sustained minor injuries during the rapid evacuation process. The airline later attributed the incident to a landing gear issue, prompting an investigation by Federal Aviation Administration as dramatic videos of the fiery runway scene circulated widely online. President Donald Trump played golf at his Turnberry resort in southwest Scotland, kicking off his 5-day visit with a round alongside and his son Eric and US Ambassador Warren Stephens. The serene coastal town was transformed into a high security zone with snipers, road closures, and police checkpoints surrounding the property. Meanwhile, protests erupted across Scotland, particularly in Edinburgh and Aberdeen, where hundreds rallied under the banner of Stop Trump Coalition. Demonstrations voiced opposition to Trump's policies on climate, immigration, and Gaza, with placards reading, "We don't negotiate with fascists," and "No red carpet for dictators." Despite the fervor, no arrests were reported at the Turnberry, though isolated incidents occurred elsewhere. Trump's visit blends leisure with diplomacy. He is expected to meet UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen for trade talks. But for now, the spotlight remains on the fairways and the fury. A video showing European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen and top EU leaders being given an unusually frosty reception in Beijing has gone viral. With no official welcome ceremony, Ursula and her delegation were bundled into a bus before their summit with Xi Jinping. The Chile protocol comes amid escalating EU-China tensions over trade, critical minerals, and China's ongoing ties with Russia. President Xi further cut short his meeting with Ursula, highlighting the deep rift between the Brussels and Beijing on trade war, supply chain vulnerabilities, and Ukraine conflict.
Make a decision that meets the expectations of the people. Make a decision that meets the expectations of the people.
Thousands of Malaysians rallied in Kuala Lumpur on July 26, 2025, demanding Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's resignation amid mounting frustration over the economic hardships and unmet reform promises. Protesters, many dressed in black and chanting Turun Anwar, stepped down Anwar, marched throughout the city before converging at Independence Square, where opposition leaders addressed the crowd. The demonstration drew an estimated 18,000 participants, including former Minister Mahathir Mohamad, who accused Anwar of misusing his position to target political rivals while shielding allies from the corruption charges. Critics also pointed to expanded taxes, reduced subsidies, and rising electricity tariffs as factors driving up the cost of living. In response, Anwar announced cash hideouts, fuel price cuts, and aid for low-income households, moves seen by many as attempts to quell public anger ahead of upcoming elections.
Food now can be quite expensive. Even now, when I buy an iced tea with a side dish, it sometimes costs at least 10 ringgit. If you add the tax on top, I don't know how people can afford it.
Automatik akan efek kepada harga makanan.
Turunkan BMX kita akhirnya turunkan. Kita atu-aruk semua daripada lapisan juga. Sebab itu tuan-tuan.
Food now can be quite expensive. Even now, when I buy an iced tea with a side
In Gaza City, dozens of Palestinians, primarily women and children, lined up outside a charity kitchen, clutching empty pots and containers in hopes of receiving a hot meal. These kitchens have become lifelines amid a deepening humanitarian crisis where food insecurity has reached catastrophic levels due to ongoing conflict, displacement, and aid restrictions. The kitchen distributed pre-cooked lentil soup, one of the few affordable and available options. Many of those waiting has been displaced multiple times and now rely entirely on charitable food aid to serve. Aid groups warn of mass starvation with record rates of acute malnutrition, especially among children.
الجوع اللي خلاني اجي هان لمتى يتحركوا عادة يخلصونا من هالحرب خلصونا خلينا نعيش حياتنا مجاعة صرنا أطفالنا صارت تموت خدش صار يموتوا صاروا الأطفال كلها تموت بنولد من بطن أمه بموت لمتى حالنا بده يضلوا هيك بالمرة ابني الجوع اللي خلاني اجي هان لمتى يتحركوا عادة يخلصونا من هالحرب خلصونا خلينا نعيش حياتنا مجاعة صرنا أطفالنا صارت تموت خدش صار يموتوا صاروا الأطفال كلها تموت بنولد من بطن أمه بموت لمتى حالنا بده يضلوا هيك بالمرة ابني الجوع اللي خلاني اجي هان لمتى يتحركوا عادة يخلصون.
At the Israeli-controlled Sikkim border crossing in northern Gaza, displaced Palestinians, many of them women and children, were seen carrying bags of flour from incoming aid convoys. These scenes reflect growing humanitarian catastrophe in the enclave, where more than 100 aid and humanitarian rights organizations have sounded the alarm over mass starvation. Despite the arrival of 4 shipments, including 147 trucks coordinated by Jordan and international partners, aid distribution remains perilous. Civilians often walk for miles and wait in dangerous conditions, sometimes facing gunfire near aid sites. The World Food Programme confirmed that one of its convoys was attacked shortly after crossing into Gaza, resulting in dozens of deaths. Authorities estimate that Gaza needs 5 lakh bags of flour weekly to avoid full-scale collapse. Yet bureaucratic delays, border closures, and military restrictions continue to obstruct the aid flow. The UN and humanitarian agencies warn that over 2 million people are at critical risk of famine.
الحمد لله.
واحنا بنطالب من الله ثم من اخواننا العرب التعجل لوقف اطلاق النار قبل كنا ما نموت. شايف ايش بذلنا؟ 10 شيكل حقه بذلنا وبنموت. انا مت جبته من تحت الدبابه. احنا بدنا اكل طحين يابا طحين. لا يا عم في الشغل الحمد لله.
Following Israel's announcement of a tactical pause to facilitate humanitarian aid, Egyptian trucks loaded with essential supplies, including food and medical materials, began entering the Gaza Strip via the Rafah crossing. Footage shared by Al Qahira News showing long lines of vehicles queued at the border, while some convoys have been redirected to Karim Shalom crossing due to damage on the Palestinian side. Temporary pause aims to ease access for relief operations in the war-ravaged region. Israeli troops boarded the Handala, a Gaza-bound aid vessel operated by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, as it approached the Israeli port of Ashdod. The boat, carrying humanitarian supplies and 21 civilians from 10 countries, including the activists, journalists, and lawmakers, was intercepted in international waters, drawing a global scrutiny and accusations of piracy. Moments before the boarding, the live video feed showed passengers singing and sitting calmly on deck, but transmissions were abruptly cut after Israeli forces took control. The Handala cargo included essential items like baby formula and medicine intended for civilians facing starvation in Gaza. Israel's foreign ministry defended the action as necessary under its blockade policy, while rights groups and Palestinian officials condemned the operation as illegal and politically motivated. The crew is expected to be deported, marking the second interception of an activist aid flotilla in recent months. Israeli military published video footage showing the packages being parachuted into northern Gaza, claiming the operation was conducted in coordination with international organizations and led by COGARD, the Israeli agency overseeing the aid logistics. The aid drops, reportedly including 7 packages containing flour, sugar, and canned food, part of a broader effort to address worsening hunger and malnutrition in the enclave. The footage, released amid mounting global pressure, follows weeks of deadly incidents near aid distribution sites and growing criticism over restricted access to humanitarian supplies. While Israel insists there is no starvation in Gaza, aid groups and UN warn that aid drops are costly, inefficient, and potentially dangerous, especially in densely populated areas. Tensions flared outside the Brook Hotel in Bowthorpe, Norwich, England, where hundreds of protesters rallied against the government's policy of accommodating asylum seekers in hotels. Demonstrations chanted slogans like "We want our country back" and carried placards referring recent criminal cases involving individuals based at the hotel. The protest quickly escalated as counter-protests advocating refugee rights also gathered nearby, sparking heated confrontations. A surge towards police occurred when a masked activist approached the crowd, resulting in a brief scuffle down a roadside verge. Norfolk police later confirmed 2 arrests tied to related demonstrations in Norwich, and this. The Home Office, facing mounting public pressure, reiterated its commitment to ending the use of asylum hotels by the end of the current Parliament. Following a closed-door UN Security Council meeting in New York, the Thai Foreign Ministry spokesperson Nikordenj Balankura stated that Thailand is open to Malaysia offering immediate ceasefire between Cambodia, but emphasized that Cambodia must first cease the hostilities and show sincerity, demonstrating good faith. The two Southeast Asian neighbors are currently embroiled in their most intense border conflict in over a decade, involving artillery exchanges, airstrikes, and ground troops along their disputed 800-kilometer frontier. The clashes have already displaced over 150,000 civilians and resulted in at least 33 deaths, with both sides blaming each other for initiating the violence. Cambodia has publicly called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, while Thailand insists that any truce must be based on appropriate on-the-ground conditions. The UN and ASEAN have urged both parties to de-escalate and resolve the dispute peacefully, though no formal resolution has yet to be adopted.
อย่างละเมิดกฎหมายระหว่างประเทศกฎบัตรของ UN แล้วก็กฎหมายมนุษยธรรมระหว่างประเทศอย่างร้ายแรงแล้วก็ละเมิดศีลธรรมขั้นพื้นฐานของความเป็นมนุษย์ที่ควรได้รับการประณามอย่างเต็มที่จากประชาคมระหว่างประเทศ
and proposals toward a ceasefire, which Thailand strongly agrees with in principle, although Cambodia must first cease the hostilities and show sincerity.
อย่างละเมิดกฎหมายระหว่างประเทศกฎบัตรของ UN แล้วก็กฎหมายมนุษยธรรมระหว่างประเทศอย่างร้ายแรงแล้วก็ละเมิดศีลธรรมขั้นพื้นฐานของความเป็นมนุษย์ที่ควรได้รับการประณามอย่างเต็มที่จากประชาคมระหว่างประเทศ
and proposals toward a ceasefire, which Thailand strongly agrees with in principle, although Cambodia must first cease the hostilities and show sincerity.
อย่างละเมิดกฎหมายระหว่างประเทศกฎบัตรของ UN แล้วก็กฎหมายมนุษยธรรมระหว่างประเทศอย่างร้ายแรงแล้วก็ละเมิดศีลธรรมขั้นพื้นฐานของความเป็นมนุษย์ที่ควรได้รับการประณามอย่างเต็มที่จากประชาคมระหว่างประเทศ
and proposals toward a ceasefire, which Thailand strongly agrees with in principle, although Cambodia must first cease the hostilities and show sincerity.
อย่างละเมิดกฎหมายระหว่างประเทศกฎบัตรของ UN แล้วก็กฎหมายมนุษยธรรมระหว่างประเทศอย่างร้ายแรงแล้วก็ละเมิดศีลธรรมขั้นพื้นฐานของความเป็นมนุษย์ที่ควรได้รับการประณามอย่างเต็มที่จากประชาคมระหว่างประเทศ
and proposals toward a ceasefire, which Thailand strongly agrees with in principle, although Cambodia must first.
And that's the end of the bulletin. Keep watching CVR News English.